The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. You're giving veterans a voice today. Powered by WorkSimple, where we simplify your mission.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Lock in every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for Tracer Rounds targeting veteran resources.
You wonder why life feels like chaos, like tracer rounds flying all around you? That's why I created the Tracer Rounds podcast. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I help cut through the noise and point veterans to those resources they need. Since 2023, join me.
To hear interviews with veteran artists, veteran business owners, and businesses that support veterans. Catch us on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and MB Radio. If you miss a show, you can listen again on Wreaths Across America Radio every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tune in to see if you are on target. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
And welcome back to the Tracer Rounds show. And we're on Military Broadcast Radio, where we're giving veterans a voice. And this is a special night for the Tracer Rounds show. Usually Tracer Rounds is on a Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, but we do special interviews on Sundays. And so this is one of those special times. And so tonight we are welcoming veteran author Graham Paul Roberts, and he actually likes to go by Paul, so I'm going to be referring to him as Paul. So if you hear me say Paul and not Graham, that's why. Welcome, Paul. How are you?
Good evening. How are you?
Good, good. So tell us where you're coming from tonight.
So I'm coming from, and it's lovely to say this, but a sunny Wales in the UK.
Wales, that's awesome that we're able to connect. And you reached out initially to the platform and kind of told us your story and told us you were writing a book. And so we were really interested in hearing your story because service is service, no matter what country or uniform you're wearing. Service to the nation, whatever nation or country you're serving, is all the same, in my opinion. You write a blank check and you say, I will serve, I will do my duty, whatever I'm assigned to do. And so service translates across all the different countries and continents as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, Mom, you're right. Yeah, 100%.
So you were here on the show. I had to look back because I thought it was just recently, but it actually was April the 7th. So it's been a little while. So if someone hadn't tuned in and didn't really hear the initial interview, can you talk a little bit about your service and talk about, what it is to be a British soldier? Because most of us are U.S. Soldiers or some kind of service. And so we don't know a lot about what it's like to serve in the British Army. So can you tell us a little bit about your service?
Yeah, sure. The ethos is the same. We're all in it for the greater good of humanity. Right. So as discussed before, I was born in 1976, very ill, 6 weeks premature, 2-pound ball. Wasn't supposed to live past my 16th birthday. I was supposed to have learning disabilities. The left side of my body would grow smaller. And during the birth, my dad was asked who he would like to survive, me or my mum. He chose my mum, which you could understand. My childhood was a wee bit difficult. I was quite slow picking things up, and obviously being teenagers, they picked up on that. So that resulted in me being bullied. I used to hide in school until my peers, loosely, used to go home, and then I went home about 6 at night. My excuse was I was doing homework. Obviously, I got past my 16th birthday. I then started to think, I've achieved this, I can go a bit higher. So I decided then to join the military. So in the UK, you have to join for 4 years, and then after 4 years you have to give 12-month notice before you leave. I did 20 years. Wow. in the Welsh Guards, and for the listeners, it's those beside Buckingham Palace with the big furry hats with the red jacket we call tunics. I climbed through the ranks to colour sergeant, and in my time I went to Kosovo, Northern Ireland and Afghanistan, and I taught in Sandhurst, which is the UK's equivalent of West Point.
Okay.
Went to Kenya, came back, and I decided to leave the military. I then went down the close protection route in Middle East, in Iraq. I then applied for a job as a military mentor, so as a PMC in Syria, which I spent 5 years in Syria.
Wow.
Initially, it was to train up a new special battalion in the National Defence Force in a place called S17. Initially, we were training, but then our duties then migrated to mentoring on the ground during firefights against Al-Qaeda and ISIS. During this time, I faced numerous challenges where I was nearly killed. I'll just give one as an example. I was lying down behind an olive tree, which the stem of the tree was no thicker than 3 to 4 inches. Wow. And when you get shot at, from a distance, if you hear a crack and a thump, the round is about 4, maybe 6 meters above.
Wow.
When you hear a whistle, it's about 2 feet. And I was hearing the whistle, and the guy to the right of me, his hand got shot. There's numerous scenarios, Terry. Most of them are in my book. I don't want to give too much out.
Right.
But all of these scenarios, together with the loss of my marriage, the loss of my mum, the loss of my sister. So my wife left me. I lost my mum to cancer, lost my sister to cancer, for context. I could not take it anymore. I then started to see a face in every corner of every room. And the face is, I haven't got it to hand. It's in the book. It was a long face, sunken in eyes, sharp teeth, and he used to scream at me, laugh at me, grin at me. I then started to contemplate taking my own life.
Oh my goodness.
And during all this time, my wife gave birth to our daughter, Theodora. And my wife was, she became a product of my hatred. I was kind of targeting things onto her as well. I couldn't really regulate my emotions correctly. Thankfully, she's a very supportive lady. She still is. She encouraged me to seek help. I then went to Veterans Wales. They give me the tools. Me being a typical man, I thought, sorted, 2 sessions, I'll be okay.
Right.
But my symptoms got worse. I started to see things, started to hear things. I've seen ghosts. I was just in a no-win situation. So I went back to the lady called Karen, my therapist in Veterans Wales. I explained everything truthfully. She then passed me over to a clinical psychologist, a doctor in the National Health Service in the UK. And he then diagnosed me with complex PTSD. Hearing those words, I felt quite weak. But I felt relieved as well. Because
Right.
I knew there was something wrong with me. He then wanted to put me on medication. He wrote this script out. So in the UK, when you got given medication from a doctor, they write out a slip. It's about 3 inches by 2 inches, and you then go to a pharmacist. Sorry, you then put it in, and then you get the medication for free. In Wales, but in England you pay for it. He then prescribed me quetiapine and sertraline. Quetiapine is an antipsychotic medication, and the idea of this was to help me to stop seeing things.
Yeah.
And jumping back slightly, I was looking for my son in a set of woods, which is in the book. And during one scenario in Syria, I was involved in a heavy firefight. And the person I shot, I seen in this woodland in North Wales. I wasn't in Syria, but he was there. My mind was telling me he was there. He was physically there.
Yeah.
So we've all heard of the concept fight, freeze, or fight, flee, freeze. I froze, I couldn't do anything. So with the knowledge of that, quetiapine, the job of that was to help me to stop seeing things.
Yeah.
The sertraline is an antidepressant. I didn't want to take him initially. I was quite reluctant. Me being a typical man, I thought, no, I'm not going to be beaten. I'm not doing that. However, I was getting worse and worse and worse and worse to the point I was going to lose my marriage again.
Yeah.
So I then decided, maybe. But amongst this time, me and my wife had a disagreement. I got arrested. I spent the night in the cells, and I thought, no, I'm not doing this. This is not the life for me. So I decided to go home. Spoke to my mother-in-law and father-in-law. Then started to take the medication. And it actually started to work. So medication worked. You know, I used the skills that I was taught. For example, one of the skills was we've all, you know, got trauma of some sort. You know, it don't have to be in the military. You know, it could be a firefighter, police service person. Instead of revisiting the scenario, what I actually did, and it really worked, was to watch me doing that scenario from a comfy chair away. You know, and to make it more vivid, I had Coca-Cola and popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me emotionally disengage from the scenario, which worked. And another thing that helped me was to put stuff down on paper. So I started to write down all my thoughts. And the idea was I started to write a list of everything. And I've actually still got it on this computer right now, of all the scenarios I've ever faced in my life. And the idea was I was going to visit each one, and I was going to place myself in the chair watching those scenarios so I can disengage emotionally.
Yeah.
That worked a treat. It really, really did. So doing that with medication, having trust in my family, and just being completely open. You know, this is really wrong saying this now. This is not 1940s, 1950s where people have to keep things to themselves. You know,
Right.
We are 2026 now, and there's no difference between color, race, creed, sexuality, sex. There's no difference. We're all the same.
Right.
And I believe that every single human on earth, if you have any form of trauma, just have the moral courage to speak out. I did, and it really, really did help.
Yeah.
So that is my history, Terry, in a kind of 5-minute nutshell.
So how did you decide you were going to write a book, and did you have help writing it? Or did your therapist that you were seeing, did they recommend that you start writing things down to kind of walk through those scenarios and kind of get your brain wrapped around what actually happened? And then that's some kind of therapy or cathartic type process where you just work through what you've been involved with military wise and in your life in general, because you mentioned that you were bullied and that you had, a struggle all coming up outside the military. And then in the military, you faced a lot of very dangerous situations and you put yourself in harm's way multiple times. And that does, and you faced adversity, with the enemy and whatnot in those various situations. So was that helpful? And is that what they suggested to help walk you through that besides the medication, obviously?
Sorry, they did. But I mean, even when I was in my late 20s, I knew I had a different childhood. So I had the foundations of creating a unique story.
Yeah.
And the further into life I progressed, that story became more powerful. And my latter part, my recent years, that story became even more powerful. So when I was advised to write things down on paper, I did agree, and it resonated with my life, because it wasn't just me just writing random stuff on paper. It was me writing real, informative, knowledgeable, truthful scenarios on paper.
So had you written before, or was this the first time you'd really started something like this? Either just writing about the scenarios, or like were you trying to write a book, or were you just writing things down and then you decided at some point that this needs to be a book. This needs to be something that I can give to others that are struggling with mental health, with PTSD. How did that work out for you?
So it started. I always knew that I had a unique story, a unique life,
Right.
a bit different. It started about 4 years ago when I was writing down all my traumatic experiences in life on paper, on this desk, on an A4 piece of paper with a black pen. I was writing down like bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
And I then started to think about the idea of writing a book. Because like I said just now, my life story is quite unique.
Yes.
My therapist then advised me to write not just bullet points, but chapters about things.
Right.
And my wife then said it'd be a good idea to expand on that. Write down an A4 piece about each one of your traumas. I then decided, okay, I'm going to go a little bit further now. I'm going to start to explore the book about, writing a book. So I wrote down all the key points in my life, which they are the chapters actually in my book. So once I started to write it, I felt a sense of relief. And I have to be completely honest, when the book came the other day, I kind of cried. I didn't want to. I just looked into the corner away from my wife. I didn't want her to see me, and I just cried because it was just such a relief.
Right.
All my memories.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that, literally, to get that all on paper.
I started writing. I stopped writing. I scrambled it up. I put it in the drawer. I forgot about it. I revisited it. So it took some time. The amount of emotional drain it had on me writing the book was really a lot.
Because did it take you back through all those events and it really put you back in that headspace, and then you're like, man, I just thought I got better, or I got past that, and then it kind of brought the traumas back up again? Or did you find that it was cathartic, even though it was emotionally draining, but it was cathartic to actually write and tell what happened? How did you find that? Was it like reliving it all again, or was it really like, this is good for me to tell this story again and to get it out?
Oh my, bit of both.
Yeah.
Very cathartic, very. But when I was writing about the scenarios in Syria, it was really difficult to write, and that's what took me a while to write. And when I wrote the book, I then passed it to the editors for their editing. When they edited chapter 27, which is one of the most powerful chapters in the book, when I had to revise their edits, I couldn't do it. I nearly gave up. I nearly said to the editing team, the Empire Publishers, stop the book. I just can't do it. Wow. I was that close, because in that chapter I describe all the scenarios in Syria where I was nearly killed, squashing the head of the ISIS fighter, etc., etc. Yeah, I nearly gave up at that point. It was quite difficult to read. So it is difficult to go back to revisit your trauma.
Yeah.
It's kind of a double-edged sword, actually, Terry. To process things, you need to revisit, and you need to be back in that scenario. So it's really difficult to explain. So you're not physically there, but you need to be mentally there, so you can revisit it.
Yeah.
But then you can shake yourself. It's such a poor thing to say, I'm sorry. But, when you come out of that mindset, you're in a different space. You're in your home. You're in your, you're in your safe space.
Yeah.
So it was quite difficult to write the book, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I think it is, because it's opening a lot of opportunities for you. How did you find a publisher? Did they find you? Did you find them? And is it a different process in the UK versus the US to try to get a book deal, or would you even know how that process works over here? I know self-publishing is a thing, but you said you did have a publisher. So how did you get your publisher?
So I'm not a experienced publisher. I'm me. I'm Graham Paul Roberts. Okay. I Googled, who's going to be the best publishers, and I chose 3 publishers. I sent my manuscript to all 3. They wanted my manuscript. If I say obviously, that sounds quite arrogant, but they wanted me to stay with them, so they're offering me different things. So I decided to stay with the Empire Publishers.
Nice.
They're UK and American. So the lady who was my project manager, her office is in New York.
Oh, okay.
So I decided to stay with them. So yeah, I wrote the book. Every single word in this book is my word, is my writing. Mm-hmm. And they edited it. They made sure it read well. It's in the right fonts, right size, etc.
Right. So you wrote the book, and you wrote it for what audience? Who are you marketing this book to, and who would be the best to take advantage of the words that are written there? I mean, it's a powerful story from any perspective, but I know that you have a particular goal in mind, or you're trying really to help those that may not be aware that they're struggling with PTSD and other traumas. And so is this book to help those and really get those people to understand that it's okay not to be okay sometimes, that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to understand that you're dealing with things, and it doesn't make you less of a person, or it doesn't change who you are, but it does let you know that there is help and there is hope. And I'm hopeful that that's kind of where you're going with this journey.
Yeah, Terry. This is not a book about war. War's part of it. This is a absolute, truthful, human story. And the idea is I want this book to go global, because it doesn't matter your color, your creed, it doesn't matter your nationality, and dare I say language. We are all the same. Every single human is exactly the same. We've all had trauma, and I want the readers to read it and to resonate. I want it to resonate with the readers. It's not about being military. It's about being a civilian. It's about being a farmer. Mm-hmm. It's about being a policeman. It's about being a firefighter, paramedic. We've all had trauma. And there is the good old saying, we've all got a book in our life that we need to write.
That's probably true.
Yeah. And I want to encourage people not just to sit in silence with their troubles, to actually put their hand in the air and go, do you know what? This, excuse a phrase, this bloke, he can be honest. I can be honest too. I'm going to go and get help. And I want to I'm not trying to rewrite the Bible. I want humanity to be better. I want people to have more empathy. I want people to have more understanding about each other's trauma, about other people. You could be walking past one person on the street. If you to brush past their shoulder, that could be the trigger for them to actually take their own life. If you walk past someone and say, good morning, they may say, I am wanted. I'm not going to take my own life. So how we approach and address each other in society, in humanity, is absolutely vital. to the progression and to making each other better.
That's 100% right. You don't know what somebody's dealing with. And, if you come across as rude or dismissive, or, you don't engage somebody, that can make the difference, like you say, of them being okay and not okay. Just giving a little bit of pleasantry can make all the difference in the world, like you say, because people feel like, oh, I am somebody. Somebody's talking to me. I do matter. Because a lot of people feel like at points in their life that they don't matter, and they just need some validation. So somebody just making the small talk, say hello, just, how are you doing? How's your day? That makes a huge difference in somebody's life, I think, like you said.
I think a smile is contagious.
I think so too.
And as an example, if somebody yawns, the person next to them will yawn.
Mm-hmm.
It's in our DNA. It's in our nature. And I think a smile is exactly the same. Same as laughter. Let's enjoy each other's company. Let's embrace each other. Let's celebrate each other.
Absolutely. So I know since our interview in April, you've done a lot of different things. So what are you doing now? And what has this, you coming on the platform and being on other people's platform, what has it done for your messaging, for you, for your opportunities?
For me, it's work wonders. It's given me self-confidence, self-belief, and it's helped me to pass on my message of being there for each other as humans.
Yeah.
I mean, as an example, in work, I've had a few people approach me where they've had, trauma from the past, and they've opened up to me.
Wow.
I've been a sounding board. I've offered advice. And as a result, those people are in a better place now just by speaking. I've had people message me. Veterans, I've had civilians message me, asking advice. I've offered advice. I've given advice. So I think my mission is to make humanity better, is to make society understand that every single person around you has had trauma, and we need to help each other.
Definitely. I definitely think we can do more to help one another if we just are open to understanding that not everyone is okay all the time. People are struggling with things that we would have no idea about, but just offering to be an ear, just offering kindness or empathy is huge.
Yeah, 100%. You could be from Seattle, LA, New York, or in Wales. You could be from Bangor, Cardiff, Conway. We're all the same. We're all from the same pod, if that makes sense. So let's look after each other.
Absolutely. So what's coming up for you? Because you've gotten offered some opportunities, or at least they're in the works. What's all come about with this book?
So, Terry, last time we spoke, I've been on a few interviews across the States with a friend of yours as well.
Yeah.
I've only today been offered to go on a show in South Africa with the second largest radio station.
Wow.
I've got quite a few podcasts in the US, in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. I've got a few book signings coming up. I've got a few talks on resilience coming up to teenagers in colleges.
Nice.
My boss in my place of work, she wants me to do a talk on resilience to my peers. And peers, we have 250 employees where I work. So my boss wants me to do a resilience talk to the staff.
So what do you think about those opportunities? Are you excited for that? Is that kind of where you're hoping to go, is to send this message out from the book heal and offer hope and resilience to some of these things, because you faced some really difficult, dark days while you were trying to figure out what was wrong and how we fix this. I mean, I don't know if we ever really fix things. We make things better, because we're always going to probably struggle with some things, and we're always going to be watching for them so we don't go back into those dark places, I think.
We can fix.
Can fix. I love that.
That's can awesome. Fix.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the analogy of a broken leg. If you break your leg, you get a splint and your bone refuses and it gets better. It fixes. Your brain is exactly the same. With the right treatment medication and the right thought process, it can fix itself. And that's the message. My book is me. It's the fundamental platform of my mission. It's not a Bible. It's not, but it's my message of hope.
Yeah.
And for the readers reading it, you'll have a greater understanding into me and my message. But when I speak to people, I want to inform that we as humanity, as a society, we're all there for each other. We all should be helping each other and encouraging each other to get better.
So I'm trying to think how to say this, but do you read the book at times and then try to walk yourself back through some of these scenarios if you get into a dark place to understand where you came from? Or how do you deal with something that comes up? I know you said the brain fixes itself, and I love that, and I'm hopeful that things stay good for you and for others that are struggling with certain traumas. But if you start to find yourself going down into a dark place, what are your tools to work through that? Is it reading back through your stories? Is it some kind of meditation of some kind? Is it talking it out with someone? What's your go-to for something like that?
So my personal go-to is I'll sit down on my own in the garden. I'll emotionally process the scenario that's at the forefront of my mind, and I'll emotionally detach. I'll place myself in that chair watching it rather than being inside it. When I'm reading my book, I have read it a couple of times since about it, as in a physical form.
Yeah.
I'm reading the scenarios. They're really raw. They are really intense. And I then remind myself, that's on paper now. It's not you. It was your history. It's not your future. It doesn't have to define you.
Right.
Your future defines you. Your past doesn't. It's molded you. So my past has molded the person I am, and I'm grateful for who I am. But my future defines me.
Right. So if you were to give yourself a piece of advice, knowing what you've been through, what would you tell a younger self now that knowing, having the foresight of everything that you've been through and the book and all that, what would you tell a younger you about the future?
Wow. I suppose if visiting, what a question.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I suppose don't be emotionally drained to a specific scenario. Don't be too emotionally engaged with a traumatic experience.
Would you tell yourself too that, I'm stronger than I thought I was, and I'm more resilient than I thought I was, and I can move past these traumatic events or these traumatic experiences, and I'm a better person because of it, because I've shown my mettle, how, what I'm made of has really resonated across all these experiences, and you're sitting here today to give others that help and that hope.
Yeah. I think things are sent to test us.
Yeah.
And God only tests the best, I think.
I love that.
Well, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Yeah, we just don't know what we're capable of dealing with until we've had to, until we're made to deal with something. You know, we hear other people's stories and we're like, oh, yeah, that's really tough. And then we face some of these things on our own and we're like, wow, that was really tough, but I am stronger and I am more resilient than this event. You know, that God has put this protection around me, and I struggled, but I got back up, and I put my feet in front of me again and kept going. And I think that's the message: is you struggled, but you got back up, you put your feet in front of you, and then now you're here trying to help others who may be struggling still and have not found their footing and haven't really embraced either a medical solution, by meds and things that would be helpful in their specific situation, or in really therapy like writing or like doing something that really helps to work through whatever traumas or experience.
Yeah, I mean, go back to what I said about, I think God selects who can be tested. Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
No.
I mean, not everyone, goes through the same,
Right.
extreme situations in life. But thankfully for me, I'm here. Sorry, you threw me off. Sorry, I apologize.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. So MJ, she's one of our hosts on the World of Conscious Positive Thinking on Mondays at 9 Eastern. And she said, we are stronger than we think. And, I agree with that. Sometimes we don't know what we can go through until we've had to face it. We just don't know how much we can bear. So she says, it is hard. It's okay not to talk when you're not ready. So yeah, I agree. If you need a minute to think or reflect, and if you just need to take a pause, then that's just completely fine.
Yeah, exactly. I said earlier about people need to talk. I don't think we should press scan people to talk.
Right.
As long as you say to somebody, and it's just a tap on the shoulder, I'm here if you ever want to talk. And, the ownership is on the person. However, that other person is watching them to make sure that they are okay.
Yeah.
And I think, family members and close friends, and dare I say peers in work, colleagues, they got a moral obligation to make sure that everyone's okay. We're all, again, echoing what I said earlier, we've all got this moral obligation to make sure that we are all okay.
I think so too. I think we do need to watch out for one another, and especially our brothers and sisters in arms, because we all think we're tough and resilient and we're above all this trauma and drama and we're going to be just fine. It's like you were saying earlier, I don't need those medicines. I'm good. I don't, I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. But then we find out, it's okay to need some help, and it's okay to not be okay, and to talk through things and find things that work for us, some therapies and some other things. I mean, we just have to look out for one another, and we have to let each other know it's okay not to be okay, and like you said, just to lend an ear if somebody needs it, just to offer that, and even if they don't take you up on it. But you looking out for them and just saying, I'm here if you ever need me, just let me know, I've struggled too, and I can tell you what I've been through.
Yeah. And I think I'll speak for US service personnel as well. Mm-hmm. You're trained to not show your weakness.
Right.
And I just think that mentality floods into civilian life, unfortunately. But I think the biggest moral test is having the courage to say, do you know what? I'm not good. I need help. Mm-hmm. And that shows you're actually a bigger person.
Yes.
I think it's those who don't speak out are weak, and those who speak out when they need help are the strong ones.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of strength to admit that you need some help, that, like you want to find some kind of help or solution to what you're going through, because like you said, there's this stigma around, no, I'm fine, I'm good, I don't need anything, and then to actually say, yeah, you know what, I really do need something. I think that is a stronger person than the person that just puts things off and says, no, I'm good.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk statistics now. In the US in 2012, there's 12% of veterans they committed suicide, and as of this year, 17%. But I think if you have got the moral courage, the brave soul to say, actually, I'm in a dark place, I need help, you're not going to be laughed at. You're not going to just be chucked aside. You will actually be thrown so much resources. And I'm speaking from a British veteran, and I'm absolutely 100% sure this is echoed in the US. If you speak out, you will be helped, you will be supported, and dare I say this dramatic, your life will be saved.
I agree with that. So MJ's saying, when owning our traumas or events means an upswing of healing, happier days ahead. Yeah, I agree with that.
100%. I mean, I'm a living proof.
Right.
I've had some right crappy days, right? You've heard it all, Terry. It's all in the book. But speaking out, it's by far the best thing I have ever done. My personality has changed for the better. I'm so happy now. And my family see that, and it's made everyone else around me happy as well.
We have another guest talking. It says, I love what you're doing here. I have 13 years in the trauma-based job. If you know anyone that needs help, please offer them my services. So yeah, if someone's needing some help, you can reach out to Straight Talk Support or your VA centers, any of those suicide crisis centers. You can definitely reach out. So in the UK, is there a great number of veteran suicide like there is here in the US? Is it a problem over there as well as it is here?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Is it?
In the UK, we class the US our brother in arms. We have huge respect for the US, not just the military, but for the US as a nation. So we have got exactly the same issue. The suicide rate in the UK is as pretty much roughly around the same number as the US. And, you could argue it's the same in other nations, Canada, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand.
Right.
And since Afghanistan, those numbers have crept up.
Yeah.
In the UK, when you leave the military, you are helped to find a job, but there's no kind of mental nurturing how to be a civilian, how to deal with previous trauma.
Right.
And that's part of my mission in the UK, is to inform all veterans that if you have got any sign of digression, then please straight away go to your GP. Because the doctor, so in the UK, if you've got any concerns, you go to your doctor first, then your doctor then signposts you to therapy, etc., etc. That's what I did. I went to my GP first, a general practitioner. So every town I've got a GP, and then he signposted me to Veterans Wales through the British Legion. So in terms of the US, it'd be the VA, and then they gave me the treatment I needed.
So do they offer free support and free help for veterans in the UK?
Yes, Mom. Yes, they do.
Okay. I wasn't sure how it worked. I would guess that it works similarly to what we have. I mean, veterans here can tap into the VA and ask for help and ask for support. And there's some outside agencies that offer support as well. So it sounds
Yeah.
like a lot the same process for getting assistance.
Do you know what we've actually started to do over the last couple of years in the UK? Every city, town, and village in the UK have got an armed forces breakfast club,
Oh wow.
where every veteran in that village, town, or city, they meet up and they talk.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's quite good actually.
So, in terms of being a veteran in the UK, are you looked on with favor or because I know at one time here in the US, veterans and military members weren't in the highest favor. I mean, now is different. But for you, are you looked at with high regard, or is it, what is it like being a veteran, I guess, in the UK versus what we experience here right now, where everything is good for veterans and people look on us favorably? I'm wondering what that experience is like for you as well. I mean, it sounds like it's good because they're offering this breakfast, which does help, I think, getting to talk to folks.
Now that, Terry, is a question. I wish, I can spend a few minutes on this. I wish the UK had the same mentality as the US. The US, when a veteran walks into a shop, and if that person knows they're a veteran, they say, "Thank you for your service."
True. Yes.
In the UK, that doesn't happen.
Really?
Yeah, it's a society in the UK will not like me for saying this. I think there is a barrier. People in the UK don't want to ask a veteran questions because they don't want to know the truth. And I think it's, for the US perspective, I think it's a bit like Vietnam.
Yeah, that was a bad time for veterans here in the US for sure.
Yeah. So that's what we are going for at the minute.
So Straight Talk says, glad to hear the UK has services to offer. Every veteran around the world deserves the same chance. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. A veteran is a veteran, just like we talked about, just because it's a different color uniform, different flag on it, different nomenclature on it. It's, service is service. And so that all those who serve their countries should be treated and given some respect, I think, because not everybody signs that dotted line. I mean, you said that there's a requirement in the UK to do that. So it seems like since there is a requirement that they would treat their veterans with higher regard because everyone's doing it. So everyone should, be a part of the solution for veterans and be accepting of veterans and, really give them, the credit they deserve, I think. I guess that's a good word. Maybe it's not the right word, but, really understand their service and really understand the sacrifice that goes along with service.
I think, yeah, and slightly digressing a bit, sorry. Someone joins the military because they want structure, they want a career, they want a job. And you could be fortunate to do peacekeeping missions, but you could be unfortunate to do real kinetic operations such as Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq.
Right. Yeah.
I think society needs to have a greater understanding of what that person, that mind has gone through.
Right.
It's bloody hell. A human shouldn't have to be exposed to that. Yes, you could argue the human is the other side doing that as well. But that's why I want humanity to be at peace with each other.
Right. So Robert, he put in the chat, he said, some powerful stuff today. Thank you for your service and your openness.
And thank you. Is it Robert?
Yes, Robert.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Your comment, people should be open, is absolutely vital. Yeah. Society should be open with each other. We should be there, open arms to help each other out. That's a very good comment. Thank you.
Absolutely. So is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about? We've got probably about 8 minutes left in the discussion or in our conversation. So I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to talk about something that you may have not mentioned yet, and something that's coming up, or something you want people to know about the book, or about just service in general.
I've got something I just need to show you.
Yeah.
The listeners. What we have here is a school registrar from Syria, and these children are the ones who were executed, against the wall in a place called Zone and Delta, which I talk about in the book. And again, for the listeners, when you walk past a veteran, just please have an understanding that, they've been exposed to things like this. I've walked into a room and there's ash, human ash of the children. Some of the stuff we've been exposed to, it's horrendous. And here's another example. May I show you?
Yeah.
I've got a diary here. It's written in English.
Yeah.
Which I found on a young ISIS fighter, white ISIS fighter.
Oh, wow.
And I think we need to understand our enemy. Some of them are being press ganged. They've been forced to fight.
True. Yes, that is true.
So that goes back to my question earlier. My statement earlier. We need to have empathy. We need to have understanding that we are all the same. We need to help each other out. We need to make the human race better.
Absolutely. We've got another comment here from Straight Talk. I feel like veterans and all first responders are ashamed to speak up or are scared, and they should all know services are here. They're confidential, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, Straight Talk, that's a very poignant point, actually. When you experience trauma, you don't want to speak about it because you feel you're embarrassed to talk about it. You feel that people don't believe you.
Right.
You just need to have the courage to speak out, because crossing that cognitive barrier of opening up does dissipate that thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really tough to start talking about things and then to share them. But then once you do, you find that it really helped for you to put it out into into time and space and really acknowledge it, so you can deal with it. Because keeping it in your head, it's like, well, maybe I'm not going to be believed, or maybe it's in my head, or people aren't going to understand. And maybe they still don't understand, even though you tell them what's going on. But at least that they are there to support and can help, even if they don't truly understand what you've been through.
Yeah. And Terry, sorry.
Got another comment. We need to find a way to reach those feelings to first responders and veterans and reassure help changes their lives. Yep.
Yeah, 100%. Terry, and there's one thing I haven't really told you since the last time you spoke.
Yeah.
I will show you a picture and I'll let you decide what you can see.
Okay. Oh, a new baby.
Yes.
Oh, that's exciting. Congratulations.
We're having a new baby girl.
Oh, that is so cool. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And that's my point. There's always a tomorrow.
Yes.
Leave yesterday to yesterday. Focus on the horizon. Focus on tomorrow, because I can absolutely assure you it is going to be brighter. And that is living proof.
Absolutely. It's
Thank
living
you. Straight
proof.
talk.
It's absolutely proof that you're needed, and that you matter, and that you still have a life to live, no matter what traumas and things that have been in your past. There's still a future. There's still a tomorrow and a next step. And people just like, I can't do anything. I can't get past this. Well, any progress forward is progress forward. So any steps you make towards getting better or towards dealing with whatever situation, it's progress. So even if it's small increments, it's still progress to something better. So
Absolutely, 100%. And do you know what, Terry? Since my Facebook page, Grandpa Roberts -author, I've encouraged people to engage with me, sending me messages. I have had people message me and I've offered advice. It's been brilliant knowing that I'm helping other people, and that other person, knowing that they've helped, I'm assuming that they've gone to help other people.
It does definitely make you feel good to know that if somebody's reached out, that you're able to talk to them and maybe give them the same hope that and the same help that you've gotten or that you're experiencing. I think that's definitely worth every conversation, no matter how difficult, just knowing that you can help somebody or that you've put some positive direction maybe in their life or in their thought process.
Yeah. I've also got a theory. Have you heard of the theory, the 6 degrees of separation before?
Yes.
Yeah. I've got one, but the other side of the pendulum.
Okay.
If I was to tell somebody that you're doing a great job, well done, thank you, that person will tell another person, that person will tell another person, etc., etc., etc. It's like when you allow a car to go in front of you at an intersection.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same.
It is. Yeah, you're right. So you throw the stone in and then you've got the waves or the ripples that come out after you've thrown a stone into a pond or a stream or anything. Then you see its impact.
Yeah.
So like you said, that matters. Just being kind matters.
Yeah. And that's the whole message behind the book, is I've informed humanity what I've gone through, and I've informed how I got better, and I want other people to do exactly the same as well.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I applaud you for putting all yourself out there and letting people really truly understand what you've been through and the impacts on your life. And, you lost a marriage, you said, and, you've had some difficult relationships because of it. But you've learned how to cope and how to deal. And part of the dealing is writing this book and then talking to people about your experience. That's really helped, I think, in your healing process. And I think it'll help others.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything you want to say before we get off tonight? We have just a minute or two before we close up. But is there anything people should tune into and look at? And I've already put your Amazon link in the chat for your book, because I suggest everybody buy it. I read the manuscript, not in its total yet, but I had read it prior to our first interview, and it's really engaging and really very moving. And so I can't wait to actually get the book in my hand. It should be here next week.
Thank you. There's 2 things. Please buy my book. It's a real human story, and it does give light to human success of how we can get better. And secondly, please follow my Facebook page, Graham Paul Roberts Author. I absolutely engage with everyone. I answer every question. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I did put that in the chat too, so people can find you on Facebook and they can find your book on Amazon. So thank you so much for the conversation tonight. I appreciate you coming back on. I appreciate you sharing all your stories and your exciting news about the new little one to come. So when's the baby due?
October the 28th.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah.
It's not that long. That's awesome.
But we don't know names yet.
Oh.
I like 3 names, but it's up to my wife.
Right. Yeah. Those are always interesting conversations about naming children and who agrees with what name.
Yeah.
Well, we're having to get off, but I really do appreciate the conversation, and we look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. This is Tracer Round signing off.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.
Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.